You did.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Please come take your seats. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Come on in. Please come take your seats.
Shabbat Shalom. There we go.
Come on in, everyone. Let's take our seats. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I love how everybody's talking to each other. Chatty, chatty, chatty. Fabulous. Come on in, looking good. All right, everybody, come on in. Let's take our seats, please. Let's take our seats.
Friends, we're going to invite you to come all the way into the sanctuary and please find a place to sit. We'll be standing again shortly.
Yes, we sure will be. And then we're going to sit, then we're going to stand, and we're going to bow, then we're going to bend at the knee. You're going to close your all sorts of fabulous things. Come on in, come on in. Rabbi Davids is looking at his watch. Why is he looking at his watch? He's like staring at his watch. Come on, Eshel. Come on. Come on, Eshel. All right. בשושנים, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים.
מי זאת עולם מן המדבר, מי זאת עולם, מקוטרת מור לבונה, מור לבונה, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה
בשושנים, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים.
ליבתיני, אחותי קלה, ליבתיני קלה, ליבתיני, אחותי קלה, ליבתיני קלה, דודי לי, ואני לא רואה בשושנים, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. אורי צפון ובואי תימן, אורי צפון ובואי תימן, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים.
All right, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We'll try that again.
Okay.
We'll try that again. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Ah, there it is. Fantastic. My name is David Eshel, one of your rabbis, our rabbis here at Wilshire Boulevard Temple on the Bima with Cantor-Shapiro. Cantor-Shapiro, maybe you want to introduce. I love that. You're like, woo, yeah.
My
Oh,
fan
my
club
goodness.
is here tonight.
My goodness. To introduce our musicians that we have with us for this
Yeah.
phenomenal evening.
I am so excited to introduce you to our amazing band. But before I introduce you to the instrumentalists on stage, I want to introduce you to someone very special in the front row. Susan Rosenstein, please stand up for just a second. Our amazing music director and my dear friend, Susan Rosenstein, and she deserves all of that. And then right next to me, on a couple of really interesting instruments, he's going to be playing the ronroco and the charango and the guitar. We have our friend Daniel Reijman, and Daniel is an Argentinian Jew. So if you have questions about growing up in Argentina and being Jewish, you can talk to him after the service. And Daniel also is one of our song leaders here at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. We're so lucky to have him in that capacity. Next to Daniel is Natan Peled, just back from a tour where all over the country, but mostly in Brooklyn, playing some really amazing gigs. And we've had him up here on this bima before, hope to have him back. And we have Janice Markham on violin. Janice is a regular here in our congregation. We're so happy you're here again. And on the stand-up bass, we have Igor, and Igor Kogan is his last name, playing stand-up bass. And on percussion, we have our friend Ava Nahas, who is kind of the steadfast member of the Zimrah project. So this amazing band, we're so happy to have you here. We would like to invite our B'nai Mitzvah families to come up to these 3 tables that are set up for you to help us light the Shabbat candles this evening. We're going to invite Anais Israels and her family, Dominique and Sam, Blake Kaplan and her family, Blair and Aaron, and Joelle Nazarian and her family, Sheila and, is it Paige? Sheila and Paige, or Page? I'm not sure. Someone can help me with that name.
I don't think the Nazarians
As Joelle's not here.
Not yet.
All right. So, friends, we're going to ask you to go ahead and light those candles for us. And then our Benot Mitzvah, I'll help you out, but we're going to do the blessing together. And everyone out there, you can help us do the blessing as well. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Thank you so much to our families.
you back to
We
your
are
seats.
so excited to celebrate with you tomorrow as you become Benot Mitzvah. You can have a seat, but don't worry, we're going to call you back later. It's so nice to have this amazing group. Just take a look around. There might be faces that you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, take
Might
some
be
time
some
and
new
wish some
faces.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to the people sitting around you, the people you know, the people you don't.
And as we do that, we're going to sing these words, Hine Matov, how good it is and how pleasant to be together. If you want to join us, the words are on page 10. Hine Matov, Umanayim, Shevet Achim, Gam Yachad. Hine Matov.
יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day.
how good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together
on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
הנה מה טוב
ומנעים
שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב
ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה לה יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה לה יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה
טוב ומנעים, יאללה לה יאללה לה יאללה לה.
יאללה לה 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 לה. יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד. You can join us on page 13 with these words of Psalm 96, Ya'aloz Sadai V'chol Asher Bo. שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי איי 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 יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי איי 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 אז ירננו כל הצייר אז ירננו כל הצייר אז ירננו כל הצייר אז ירננו כל הצייר יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי איי 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 יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי איי 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 יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי איי 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 איי
All right, it's time for us to welcome in the Sabbath bride with Lecha Dodi. We're going to be on pages 20 and 21. Cantor-Shapiro, what verses are we going to be singing this evening?
We're going to do the verses that we normally do.
Oh, my, 1, 2, 5, and 9?
Those are the ones, yes.
Inspired choice.
I'm glad you're here because I know the words and I always forget the numbers.
Oh, yeah, 1, 2, 5, and 9. That's what
1,
I'm
2,
here
5,
for.
and 9.
I got you.
Thank you.
Pages 20 and 21.
לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילו לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דוידי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
I invite us all to please rise and face the entrance as we greet the Sabbath bride.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דוידי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Friends, we're going to turn to Shalom Aleichem. There are a lot of angels in our midst this evening. So we're going to welcome the angels we can see and maybe some angels that are looking in on us. There's one right there. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
It's now my honor to invite up Rabbi Joel Simons to share some words.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are a people that marks transition. We make the mundane beautiful. We make the mundane holy. And so we could simply just end the week and start it again, but we do so with Shabbat, and then we do so with Havdalah. And every moment throughout our personal lives, and every moment throughout our communal lives, we mark transitions. And as we're sitting here tonight with this beautiful Shabbat service with a wonderful community, it's another moment for us to mark a transition, for us to call attention and recognize that in a few weeks, this building will be closed for some time as we go through a beautiful renovation, a beautiful reform, if you will. And we're a people that knows a little bit about reform. It's in our tradition and it's in our heritage. From every place we went, we created, we tore down, and then we built up again. We adjusted and we adapted. And so we mark this transition tonight. And it's not an easy transition for some of us. I'm looking at my son Noah in the back. He learned how to walk on these steps. And so many of us have those memories. Whether you've been here for just 5 minutes or you've been here for 50 plus years. And we wanted to recognize that this evening. That bittersweet nature which is so inherent in the Jewish soul. But we know that we're going to be back, and it's going to be beautiful. And we're going to have old memories, and we're going to create new ones. But let's take a moment in this time of transition to breathe in the beauty that was and to prepare ourselves for the beauty that will be.
Thank you, Rabbi Simons. We're going to, the Baruch Hu is a moment when we call holiness into this space. It's already here. So let's stand and recognize that holiness. Page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai
Sit, maybe be seated just for a few moments. So we're about to transition into Shema. And I want to talk a little bit about this prayer, not the specifics of it, but what it evokes sometimes. So tonight we're here wanting to celebrate the Argentinian culture, the Jewish communities of Argentina. And in my research on the community, into the culture, it's very reminiscent to a lot of the other countries that we've talked about over these last few months, is that there's a push and a pull, right? So many of these communities are pushed from where they actually come from, right? Where the Jews actually come from, pushed in a surge of violence and hatred and fear, but then a pull of wanting a better life, looking for that safe harbor and looking for that feeling of safety within their hearts for themselves, their families. And that is, I think, a universal desire, right? I'm very much reminded of this idea of push from violence and a pull for the desire of peace on what we're all feeling, what we've been feeling these last couple of days. I think at the essence of the reason for our gathering, right, being here is because we all want to feel safe. We all want to feel like things are going to be okay. And of course, there's going to be time. There are the times for the debate, the conversation, and the action, policy, all of those things. Important work. And then at the core, it's this idea of wanting to feel safe. So why the Shema? I want to share a story that I read this past week. It's about an 8-year-old girl sharing her feelings with her mother after doing an active shooter drill at her school. And she said during the drill, it's also fear and anxiety that our children are feeling. So she was saying that the 8-year-old girl to her mommy, we were shuffled into this room and we were really scared. It was a drill, but we were all really scared. Some of the children were crying. The teacher was trying to comfort us. And I didn't know what to do, this 8-year-old girl was saying. And something came over me, and I sang the Shema to myself the same way that you, Mommy, do for me every night to put me to bed, because that's when I feel the safest. So whether it's thousands of years ago, whether it's hundreds of years ago, whether it was just a few days ago, we all want to find that thing in our life to help us feel safe, to know that we're not alone and that everything is going to be all right. So I'm going to invite us all to now please rise as we continue with Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
And we're going to call upon our Banot Mitzvah to lead us once more in the Ve'ahavta this time on page 36.
Bring your book, 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 bring your book. Oh, it's up there for you. It's up there for you. It's up there for you. It's up there for you.
1, 2, 3.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim haele asher מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם
בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
All right, beautiful.
Thank you. You can have a seat. Mazel tov.
So in a moment, we're going to continue with Mi Chamocha. It's our song of freedom. When our people left Mitzrayim, right, Egypt, but Mitzrayim in Hebrew, which is a very interesting word for this place, right? Mitzrayim translates as the narrow place. That we left this narrow and dark place of slavery, of violence, and moved to a place of freedom, walking through the parting of the sea on our way to the promised land. Now, I want us to keep that idea in mind. Crossing through the parted sea on the way to the promised land, being pushed through the narrow place of Mitzrayim, because that's going to come up a little bit later. Just keep it in mind. We're going to continue now with Mi Chamocha, page 40.
Mi chamocha pailim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot oseh feleh nora tehilot oseh feleh malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam ze'elianu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam ba'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam ba'ed Yailai, 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 ונאמר כי ודע אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We're going to turn to page 44 now. And sorry, that's not right. 43, page 43. And we have these words of Hashkivenu, and we're going to focus on this one little part of it, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shalomecha, where we ask God to spread over us a shelter. We ask God to spread over us a shelter of peace, a shelter of wholeness. I don't know about you, but right now in this moment, after this week, this idea of a shelter of peace that could protect me is such a very inviting idea, and a shelter of peace that could protect each and every one of you as I look out and see all your faces there. And I know for me that in those moments where things feel really out of control and I feel anything but peace, I can just say to myself, right now, right here in this moment, I am safe. I am okay. Right here, right now, in this moment, I am safe. I am okay. This version of Ufros Aleinu comes to us from the Argentinian community and has been set for us by our wonderful Daniel Reisman. We're going to sing it a few times, so if you pick up the melody, I'm going to invite you to please join with me. Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, HaPorei Sukat Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen. Ufros Aleinu, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, HaPorei Sukat Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen. We'd like to invite our young people back, our Banot Mitzvah, to lead us in the Amidah. And the rest of us will invite you to please stand as we turn to page 48. Why don't you come all the way up in front of the ark this time? We'll let you use our microphones.
Can I put my back down? Yes, you can. Wait, am I on the right page? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanavra El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovin V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Hasei Avot V'Imahot Umei V'Geilah Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Mele Ozer Umashia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Betzrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mehayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehushia Morid Hatah Mehayeh Chaim Behesed Mehayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Baal Gevurot Umido Mechla Melech Mimit Umekayem Umatmiya Yeshua B'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol.
We continue silently now through page 62, and we remain standing until the ark is closed. Beautiful, you may be seated. So I found something very interesting during my research for tonight. So the Jewish community of Argentina right? Like the first kind of members, quote unquote members, founders, creators of this community, came over to Argentina in the late 19th century, right? The late 19th century. And they came over as farmers, right? They came to work the land, right? They came to work the land. They were even called like gauchos, or as like another translation of gauchos, also like a cowboy, kind of like a vaquero, gaucho. And they were real people of the land, right? Workers with their hands. But why did they come over? They were escaping, it's a few hundred families escaping the pogroms in Russia. Escaping pogroms in Russia, right? So this is, because it's like a Russian Jewish community, or Eastern European Jews, and leaving this experience, leaving pogroms, and moving to another country across the world to work the land and become people of the land. Does that sound kind of familiar? Or another group of people? Right? It sounds like another group of people. So also around that time, right, the late 1800s, or the late 1800s, so it's the late 19th century, you also have immigration to the pre-state Israel, right? The Palestinian Mandate area. It wasn't even that at the time, right? Ottoman Empire. So you have the Jews leaving Eastern Europe, right? Leaving the violence, leaving pogroms, and going to this land to become people of the land, right? To become people of the land, working the land. This is what it was. So they were doing this, and then there were these families, these wealthy Jewish families in France and England, who were helping to fund what is called the Aliyah, right? The rising up to Israel. But these same families were also helping this new Jewish community in Argentina. And those Jews, right, were looking at it as, and they were calling it, the promised land of the Americas, right? This was the promised land. So this community, thinking that they were actually going to the promised land, right, in Argentina, were in direct competition with the Jews leaving Eastern Europe to go to what I'll call Israel, in direct competition for the funds, for the money, right? Because it was like being divided up. What are you going to do? That there was, I don't want to say hatred, but a lot of frustration between those communities, right? Between those communities. Okay, so that's one part, which I just found very interesting. And then the next part, right, as more and more Jewish people, so in the turn of the century, the 20th century, in the 10s and the 20s, starting to make their way to Argentina, again, leaving the violence, being pushed, leaving the pogroms, leaving the violence, and starting to create a life where this place in Argentina, very open, a lot of space, and again, farmers, but then those who were there before transitioning into different types of labor, right? Whether being shopkeepers, merchants, right? And then starting the old guard being the ones to lend money and to help those who are coming in with their transition. Great. Now, all right, this I find very fascinating. How many of you have ever heard of the Golem? The Golem before. The Golem of Prague. Okay, so now we're talking, the Prague. In Prague. So we're talking about this community in Europe, the Jewish community in Europe. There's the folk tale, there's the idea of the Golem. What was the Golem? It was this kind of mystical beast that was created out of mud, out of clay, and with the word emet, just truth on its head. And it was there, right, to protect the Jewish community from the non-Jews, the pogroms, all the violence that they were experiencing. Okay, so this is Jewish folktale, Eastern Europe, and Prague. Okay. So then, in the 20s, 30s, there was an adaptation of this Prague or Eastern Europe folktale into the Argentinian Jewish community. The Argentinian golem, or the golem of Buenos Aires, okay, which is fascinating. That is said that it was some of these new farmers, right, being persecuted or gouged or what's the word that they, I'm not even going to use the word anti-Semitism, and you'll see why in a second. They, in the folktale, it was farmers created the golem, a new golem, out of mud, right? And they put the word emet, truth, not on its head, but on its inner thigh area, reminiscent to Jacob having his thigh wrenched and like the thigh bone being wrenched, right? That this is really the true Jacobites that they were considering themselves, real Jacobites. So why do I not use the word? They were fighting against violence or gouging and whatnot, and why not anti-Semitism? Because this golem was created to protect the Jews from other Jews, from the other Jews who were already there, who had been there, and who were now taking advantage of these new Jews, and the ones who were assimilating into a very open and accepting Argentinian culture at the time, right? So there is this fight, and the new Jewish people coming in who created the golem were actually looking to the non-Jewish neighbors, the non-Jewish farmers, the non-Jewish kind of people out in the rural areas for help and support. And what I find so fascinating here, right, and you see this in our story across the world, this idea of migration, leaving a hard, violent situation, looking for a place of peace, and then finding it, and then being afraid to give that up to new people coming in, whether they're Jewish, whether they're not Jewish, whatever. It's that newness coming in, and looking at that other. And we see that throughout our history. And one of the stories that the creators of this new Argentinian Jewish folktale were trying to teach is that it is that hatred within ourselves. When the outside world sees that hatred within ourselves, that's when we're going to start to fall apart. So what it's trying to teach us, that we need to be there together, right? We need to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, to love our Jewish neighbors as ourselves, to love our non-Jewish neighbors as ourselves, to love all humanity as ourselves. And the Argentinian Jewish community knew this to be true. And I think our Torah also knows this to be true as we teach Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha. May we love our neighbors as ourselves.
Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha, l're'echa kamocha, kamocha. Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha, l're'echa kamocha.
What is the gift you'd offer if we loved like that? Really loved like that. ואהבת לרעך כמוך, לרעך כמוך, כמוך. ואהבת לרעך כמוך, לרעך כמוך, כמוך. How would the world look?
We now take the time to think about those in our lives, our families, our community, our world, who may be in need of healing. I venture to say that that's all of us right about now. We also specifically think those families of the victims in Texas and also the survivors. If you are thinking of anyone today, I invite you to say those names now in your hearts. Today we also remember, we think of Bonnie Chiswick, we think of Charles Schwartz, Marcy Siegel, Alan Cerroti. We continue with a Misha Berach, prayer for healing.
Dear God of our ancestors,
Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
help us to renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So before we continue, just a few brief announcements. First, following our service, we're going to continue actually right up here with Kiddush and Motzi with our beautiful Benot Mitzvah families. Also, coming up, please join us for Shavuot Soiree, Milk and Honey Under the Stars, Saturday night, June 4th at 7:15 p.m. at the Ermis campus, so in person, or online with some additional learning starting at 8 p.m. And in person, we will be eating sweet dairy foods because learning Torah tastes like milk and honey. And just so you know, on Shavuot, there are no lactose intolerant people. So all you Jewish tummies can eat dairy on Shavuot. Just like there are no calories on Shabbat, that's also a thing. Everybody can eat dairy on Shavuot. Isn't that right, Cantor-Shapiro?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, good. So then also, oh my goodness, there's going to be cheesecake and blintzes and wine, all sorts of fabulous, wonderful things. Study sessions will be held outdoors around the Ermis campus. So if you want feeling uncomfortable about being indoors, I assume all of you are not feeling too uncomfortable about being indoors, considering you are indoors right now. But we will be studying outdoors at the Ermis campus as well as online. But please, 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 please pre-register at eventbrite.com. Also, Bonnie, where's Bonnie? We want to
Bonnie
thank
Kebri here.
Bonnie. She's out. Well, we want to thank Bonnie so much for helping us out for sure. And Toby Burkup. Toby, thank you so much,
Thanks,
Toby.
Toby.
Fabulous for you to be here. And of course, our maintenance team, our sound engineers, for making us, actually be heard tonight. So thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you guys. Also, following our service, for those of you who have pre-registered for our dinner, yes, Argentinian food coming up, pre-registered for our dinner. We're going to be going right back out behind you into Klein Hall, the back of Klein Hall. And we will be continuing with our dancing. Is that right? A little tango.
Yes, we will.
Fabulous. For those of you who joined us earlier at 5:15 today, we had some tango lessons, which was fabulous. A lot of fun, a lot of serious business. Learned quite a bit. And we're going to be practicing those steps in just a little while. Also, in case you are not receiving our emails, we send out a ton of emails, multiple ones a week, with all the fabulous and wonderful opportunities and offerings that we have here at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. If you're not receiving those, please let us know ASAP so we can get you all that information. And also, if you're joining us and you're not a member yet, if you are interested in membership, please also look online, contact us, talk to any of your clergy, any of your professional staff, and we have actually a membership director here with us this evening as well who's going to be helping us out. If you have any questions about membership, we'd love to have you. And last but not least, how you feeling? How is about mitzvah feeling? How we feeling? How we feeling? How we feeling? Feeling good? Thumbs up? What do we got? Oh, also thumbs up. Mazel tov to you. I am so very excited to hear about how it goes. And mazel tov to you and your beautiful, beautiful families. With that, maybe we'll thank our band as well. Give them a little one more time.
Ava, Igor, Janice, Nadav, and Danielle, and Susan Rosenstein. Thank you so much. We are blessed to have you here.
Yeah, you can give them some claps. Go ahead, for sure. So we're going to continue now on page 282 in the middle of the page with Aleinu. I invite us all to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. I would like to invite up Rabbi Joel Simons.
We wanted to take a moment before we rise together for Mourner's Kaddish and reflect a little bit on the tragedy that we all endured from this past week. Too many times we've gathered in this sanctuary and we've mourned together. Too many times we've gathered in this sanctuary and read the names that we've seen on the news. And too many times we've gathered in this sanctuary with anger in our hearts, having to say these words of Kaddish. And I want to just say a brief word about anger. That when we offer Mourner's Kaddish, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to bring that fullness and that weight of our heart into this prayer. It's a prayer none of us ever want to say. It's a prayer of reluctance. It's a prayer of anger. And it's a prayer of why. So I want us to take a moment with our own silence. Then we'll rise together in just a moment. I'll offer the names of the victims from Texas. Rabbi Eshel will then offer the names from within our community. And then we'll rise together with the real and raw emotions in our heart and offer the words of Kaddish. I ask if you're able to please rise. As we offer these names, we know that these names have stories, and that these names were loved, and that these names had a fire for life that was cut way too short. McKenna Lee Elrod, Lila Salazar, Miranda Mathis, Nevaeh Bravo, Jose Manuel Flores Jr., Javier Lopez, Tess Marie Mata, Rogelio Torres, Eliana Eli Amia Garcia, Eliana Torres, Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, Jackie Cesares, Uzia Garcia, JC Carmelo Luvenas, Mate Oena Rodriguez, Hale Nicole Sogero, Irma Garcia, Eva Morales, Amari Jo Garza, Alexandria Lexi Anya Rubio, Alithia Ramirez.
Thank you, Rabbi Simons. The following are those in our community who have died during the past 30 days. David Burstein, Edward Cohen, Robert Bob Feldman, Ronald Fishman, Ashley Jaffe, Frank Rosenblum, Ralph Silberman, Sonia Wallen, Joanne Wolf, Bert Zweig. The following now are the names of those in our community who the memorial of their death fell during this past week. Candice Abell, Henry Baker, Matthew Bergen, Marilyn Blank, Jonathan Blitz, Sarah Bloom, Suzanne Batowski, Bernard Brown Jr., Catherine Cardinal, Janice Kadoff, Morton Cohan, Henshi Korper, Levi Korper, Rosalind Danziger, Musa David, Bertha Davidoff, Sally Dickman, Helen Doran, Sonia Eigles, Jack Epstein, Erica Follick, Joseph Feinstein, Cecilia Feinstein, Regina Fisher, Sherma Frank, Bernard Friedman, Solomon Friedman, Sybil Frischling, Doris Frost, Jenny Gable, Norman Gallup, Samuel Jerry, Dorothy Gidlow, Rochelle Ginsburg, Stephen Glasgow, Malcolm Glazer, Robert Edward Gordon, Samuel Guber, Leo Guthman, Andy Harris, Andrea Lynn Hattenbach, Stanley Heisler, Leah Holes, Sam Horn, Lewis Jackson, Max Kay, Jeanette Kerner, Irving Kolpis, Samuel Corin, Mike Lackman, Ernst Lesser, Hy Leonard, Loretta Leonard, Gerald Levin, Seymour Levine, Gisela Lipsky, Victor Ludwig, Edith Marcus, Yvonne Nash, Blanche Nevitt, Jedediah Nirvana, Ben Nitzberg, Donald Optikin, Robert Ozeron, Mitzi Pollock, Arthur Platt, Louis Roman, Shirley Ross, Esther Schulman, Diane Schwartz, Israel Sinitsky, Sally Shadlin, Michael Shapira, Morris Shapiro, Sarah Shapiro, Louis Sherman, Esther Shore, Nettie Schrallo, Naomi Schuarger, Sidney Siegel, Lawrence Silberkleit, Jenny Rose Stein, Arlene Stone, Bernard Tarrin, Izzy Title, Alvin Tramer, Sorel Trope, Shirley Lee Tooch, Susan Tooch, Elsie Ullman, Sylvia Visco, Murray Weingrod, Geraldine Woolworth, Melvin Wyckoff, Constance Zola. We also add to those names all of those who have died defending the United States of America, all of those who have died defending the state of Israel, all of those who have died as senseless acts of terror and hatred around the world, all of those who have no one to say the mourner's Kaddish, the mourner's prayer for them. And finally, if you are thinking of anyone else today, or if I've mispronounced a name that you know of, please say those names now in your hearts. We remain standing together in support of all of those of us thinking of someone today. Page 294, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam omei omaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלל מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
Yeah, Yes, let's invite our Banot Mitzvah one last time to lead us in Kiddush. So you can go to the tables in front and
Come on up with your
hold
families.
up
Come on up,
the
come on up,
Kiddush
come
cup.
on up.
And the rest of us, please stay standing.
Come on up with your families. Yeah, we're going to do it.
We can find the Kiddush on page 5. Page 5. All right, you can hold those Kiddush cups up.
Hold them up.
And I'll ask the Banot Mitzvah to please join me, and of course the rest of you to please join us in Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techilah lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'chata ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu.
Raise them up, raise them up.
Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat. Amen. L'chaim. And you can lift up the challah cover, and hopefully there's some challah under there. I believe there is. And if you could hold up the challah for us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom,
We're going to
everyone.
close out with Yaribon.
And as you're making your way, if you've pre-registered, please come join us for dinner.
Yaribon na'olam